In this video, I'm going to attempt to survive 500 days in Minecraft Hardcore. Surviving hardcore difficulty is the ultimate way to prove yourself in a Minecraft experience. With only one life, it is a true test of skill. You see, our story started not too long ago when I decided to make the decision to load into new lands. At the time, I was new here and didn't realize the great adventure that was awaiting me. For the first 100 days, I constructed shelter and defeated the Ender Dragon. That quickly led to 200 days, where I would go on to upgrade my gear and battle an ocean monument. For 300 days, I expanded my island even more and encountered a woodland mansion. And, well, during 400 days, I created an armory loaded with loot and protected my island from a raid. That's what I've done in 400 days of hardcore, but now it's time to survive 500 days, so let's do it. But before we do, here are some things I would like to get done in 500 days. The first thing I want to do is expand my island even more by creating things such as automated farms and even construct some new builds. The second thing is to obtain enough diamonds to make a full diamond beacon. And, well, the final thing I want to achieve is to complete every advancement the game has to offer. Some of these can get really difficult, so it's not going to be easy. I am excited to see what we can get done in 500 days. So with that being said, let the 500 days begin! Our story picks up right from where we last left off. It was day 401, and I was back on the island once again. And like usual, the first thing I had to do was check on my cows. I just wanted to make sure they were doing okay. As I was walking over to the cows, I couldn't help but notice the massive smiles on their faces. They were super happy to see me back. As I left the cows' home, I glanced over at two builds I'd previously constructed. They were outdated and needed to be replaced by something new. This would be a statue, a small yet detailed build that I could create with some easy materials I had in my storage room. I looked through my chest to find some supplies that I would need to build this statue, such as cobblestone stairs, and even some stone bricks. Some other things I wanted for this build were things such as prismarine blocks and some sea lanterns, but as I was looking through my chests, I saw the lack of prismarine shards I had. So that's when I decided to head over to my creeper farm to make some fireworks so I could go over and explore the nearby ocean monument. I arrived at the ocean monument just as the sun was setting and didn't bring any potions with me, but that would be okay seeing as I wouldn't be here for long, and I had some doors to create some air pockets. I spent some time gathering all the blocks I would need and even brought my silk touch pickaxe to get some of these sea lanterns. But once I was done with resource gathering, construction started. With the statue on the island built, it was time to move on to my next project, and this would be an iron farm. An infinite supply of iron, which would lead to me not needing to get iron on any mining trips in the future. I spent day 405 gathering all of the components I would need for this farm. I would need things such as composters, hoppers, chests, fence gates, and also some beds, so I went out to get some sheep. I also filled up a shulker box with dirt. This would be needed for the island extension itself that would hold the iron farm. By the middle of day 405, I was able to start creating this farm. By day 407, the farm was so close to being done. All I would need now is to get some villagers over to it, and even a zombie. These things would be needed so the farm could function correctly. I struggled to get villagers out my villager area just because there were so many iron golems blocking the exit. So I knew what needed to be done here. I needed to spend some time clearing this place out. By the end of day 408, the villager area was completely cleared out and I could now finally take the villagers all into their brand new home. Although when I was pushing the villagers into their brand new house, one of the villagers reminded me that I have to tell you guys something, and, well, I now have a second channel, so if you enjoy the content here, then I'm sure you'll enjoy the content over there. The channel name is called More Through, and it would mean a lot to me if you were to go and check it out, or maybe even subscribe. I will put the channel down below in the description, so if you want to go check it out, that would be awesome. But anyway, back to building the iron farm. On the night of day 409, I had to add some final touches to the iron farm so it would work correctly, and then after that, I had to lead a zombie into its brand new home. The first zombie I decided to trap wasn't really the happiest with this, so it decided to run away, which means I needed to get a new one. So I got a fresh name tag. As soon as night struck, I led another zombie over to this position, and it was time to see if this farm truly worked. I was interested to see not only the farm's efficiency, but if it would actually work, so I spent the next few days testing it out. soon as it hit day 414, I went to see how much iron this farm had generated and couldn't believe my eyes. I had pretty much 4 stacks of iron and didn't have to mine a single piece of it. With iron in my inventory and a smile on my face, it was time to go on a brand new adventure. I wanted to see if I could get my hands on a trident. I know how rare these are, but I really wanted one. As I was flying over the seas and enjoying my adventure, I saw some sort of underwater decayed structure which contained a chest. I went down to investigate and open up the chest to see what would be waiting for me, and I found a buried treasure map. I was super excited and couldn't wait any longer to see what was on this map, so I decided to go over to a nearby mountain and inspect. As I got onto dry land, I gripped the map in my hands to take a look at where I would need to go next. Turns out I was way more close than I expected, so without hesitation, I went straight over to where I needed to be. It brought me over to a small deserted island, but I knew somewhere under here there would be a chest filled with loot. I stood in the correct spot and started digging down. I had instantly found what I was looking for. I couldn't wait to see the treasures waiting for me inside of this chest. When I opened it up, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A whole chest filled with gold, emeralds, iron, and more importantly, a heart of the sea. I knew just how valuable this item was, so I put it safely in my inventory. With my adventure off to a great start, it was time to dive into the ocean to see if I could find a drowned holding a trident. These aren't easy to come by, and I knew diving into the ocean and starting battles against some foes I hadn't encountered before was going to be dangerous. So I stayed cautious at all times. On day 417, I came across a trident drowned, but it unfortunately didn't drop it. And, well, the same thing happened multiple times. But on day 418, I locked eyes with another drowned holding a trident. It was time to dive down with my looting sword and see if I could get lucky. And to my surprise, it dropped straight into the ocean. After all of this searching, I finally had one. And well, of course, now I had this trident, I had to make sure I had all of the best enchants it could get. I started off by placing it in an enchantment table and only getting Unbreaking 3, so I decided to try again, and I settled for this. An Unbreaking 3 and Loyalty 3 trident, which wasn't too bad, and Loyalty was really the only enchantment I wanted. Apart from mending, of course, so I bought a book from my villagers. I combined my book with my trident, and it was time to head over to my XP farm. The durability was surprisingly low on the trident. With a full durable trident in my hands, it was time to test this thing. Seeing as it had loyalty, there was no chance it could possibly get lost and would come back to me by any means. I hope. It will be back any minute, I hope. Wait a minute. It seems I had made a mistake. I decided to chuck the trident into the void, which means it wouldn't come back to me. All of that hard work for nothing. How clumsy. So, to end off day 420, I went out looking for some more drowns to see if I could get lucky, and to my surprise, I got the luckiest I think I possibly could have. I got a trident back in no time. Again, I brought this trident back over to my enchantment table and got even better enchants. And of course, I bought another mending book, and seeing as this one already had good durability, I wouldn't be risking bringing it to the end again. And there it was. To end off day 422, I had a trident in my possession. And of course, seeing as I now had the trident, I had to try it out. On day 423, I had so much creativity, and it was time to start on a brand new building project. But this building project would be located in the depths of the Nether. The only build I had in the Nether was this small cobblestone structure which surrounded my Nether portal just so it wouldn't break. But it wasn't good enough and I wanted an upgrade. So I spent the next few days gathering things like quartz for smooth quartz blocks, and even had to take a trip back over to the armory to get a silk touch pickaxe. This would be so I could obtain some sea lanterns for the build. Another key block I was using for this build was light blue concrete. This would simply be to make the Nether base stand out. Now that I had collected all of the resources and materials I would need for this build, it was time to start it. And by the end of day 433, the build was fully up and constructed. It was time to grab some obsidian so I could make a large nether portal in the base. And there it was, a full lit nether portal and a massive safety hub, so anytime I would enter the nether, I knew I'd be safe. And if you remember from the last 100 days, I was able to take out another wither and get a spare nether star, which I could use to create a beacon. And well, I thought a beacon would go perfectly inside of this brand new build. After setting up the beacon, the nether base was fully constructed. I now had a safe place to go in the nether. I was also pretty proud with this build and thought it looked quite nice if I do say so myself. As I got back into the overworld, I thought now was the perfect time to get one of my goals ticked off the list, and this was to complete the full diamond beacon. Seeing as I had quite a lot of progress towards the diamond beacon, I thought now would be the perfect time to finish it, and it would probably only take me around about 20 days max. I created a light blue shulker box, and this is where I would store all of the diamonds. And of course, an overworld mining trip called for a visit to the armory to get a spare pickaxe. This pickaxe would simply be a spare pickaxe if anything was to go wrong with my main one, but seeing as it had mending, that was unlikely. By day 437, I was down in the depths of the caves mining for diamonds. Seeing as I would be down in the caves for quite some time, I brought plenty of food and I was prepared to spend as much time as I needed down here. After all, I knew the diamond beacon wouldn't be easy. On day 438, I was getting so lucky with diamonds, it was like I couldn't stop finding them. And even on day 339, I was making amazing progress. But on day 440, I came across a cave filled with hostile foes. But I was able to take care of them and came across even more diamonds. I spent day 441 all the way to day 457 mining for diamonds constantly. Although it was amazing having all of these valuables on me, I had to be careful because I didn't want to lose any of it. After mining loads and loads and loads of diamonds, it was time to see how many I had obtained. By day 458, I checked my inventory and I was loaded with diamonds, and if my calculations were correct, I would only need around about 13 stacks of diamonds to complete this beacon. And on day 459, it was done. All 13 stacks obtained and in my inventory, and it was time to get out of the caves. By day 460, I was finally back on land and I hadn't seen the sky in many days. This felt great, and seeing as I was exhausted after countless days of mining, I got some sleep. And on day 461, it was time to finally build this beacon. I truly couldn't believe my eyes. I had so many diamond blocks. I instantly went to the top of my storage room and placed them all down. And there it was, I finally had what I've wanted for so long, a full, complete diamond beacon. I felt super achieved, but I didn't actually have a beacon to put on the top. Which could only mean one thing. I had to take out some wither skeletons to get some wither skulls to summon another wither to get another nether star. But I didn't want to only battle one wither, I wanted to battle two at the same time. So then I wouldn't only have one beacon, I would have a spare one in my disposal to use at any time. So seeing as I wanted these beacons, I would need some wither heads, so I went directly over to the fortress and started battling withers to see if I could get lucky. On day 462, I got lucky with my first wither head and was able to get a second one as well. On day 463, I was able to get another one in the collection. I continued to battle wither skeletons with my sword, and on day 464, I came across two wither skeleton skulls and got incredibly lucky. And well, on day 465, I got the final wither skull I was looking for, which now means it was time to battle these two withers. But I couldn't do this without some preparation, so I went back to my base and grabbed some soul sand and everything else I would need to prepare for this, such as golden apples and even some strength potions, so I went directly to my storage room to grab some water bottles. I placed each individual water bottle into the brewing stand and started making up some strength potions. These potions would be super useful because it would give me some more attacking power against the withers. But when I was done brewing the potions, I realized something. Defeating two withers is definitely not going to be easy, so I gave one last glance around my island because it may be the last time I would see it again. And of course, I said goodbye to my cows and instantly went down to the strip mine so I could prepare for this wither fight. I was feeling nervous, but super prepared at the same time. With all of my potions and golden apple, I felt unstoppable. I put the soul sand in its place and equipped my chest plate so I could absorb some more damage from these withers. Taking attacks from two of these will do some serious damage to me, so I would need to stay cautious at all times. I placed the wither heads on the soul sand blocks, and I got ready to spawn these beasts in. Everything was beginning to seem real, so I hesitated no longer and placed the last 2 wither skulls on top of the soul sand blocks, and the withers were here. It was time to prepare my bow and arrow and get ready for the most intense battle I've had up to this point. Here it was. With both of the withers spawned in, I had to start attacking instantly, because if I was to let any of the withers get above ground, they would destroy my island and everything I had worked hard for up to this point. So I tried my best to make sure both of the withers would stay underground and do everything I could to keep them from getting into the overworld. With some quick melee attacks, I was able to do chunks of damage to the first wither. With my strength 2 potion paired with my sword, the wither would stand no chance. With some accurate sword attacks, I was able to take the first wither down, which then left me with 1 more. I got this beast's attention and stumbled back into my pathway. I attempted the same tactic I had with the last wither and threw some bow shots at it. These attacks were dealing some serious damage, and before I knew it, I had this wither down to about half health. Seeing as I got it low, I knew it would start lunging at me with some melee attacks. I had to keep my distance and time my shots perfectly. With one final swing, the wither was gone. I had done it. I was able to take out 2 withers and get 2 nether stars. This means I could now create 2 beacons, one for the diamond beacon and one that I could keep spare for a future use. I was hungry, so I eaten some potatoes and gripped the nether star in my hands. I felt victorious. Another battle that I had won. By day 467, I made it safely back to my base and grabbed some obsidian and glass. It was time to craft both of these beacons. I went back over to my storage room, and there it was. I had fully constructed an entire diamond beacon, and it looked pretty incredible if I do say so myself. But this diamond beacon had taken me ages to get, so I couldn't just leave it on top of a storage room. I had to show this thing off. So that's when I started to get some materials to build a placeholder for this beacon. I really liked the armory castle design that I'd made in 400 days and wanted to make something similar for a beacon room. So, seeing as this is what I would be building, I went to see what blocks I already had at my disposal for this build. I had some blocks laying around like stone brick, cobblestone, and even some smooth andesite. Oh, and when I was getting the blocks for this build, I came across an empty map I had spare in one of my end chests. I activated the map and got a whole view of the island. Now, I know exactly where I could put this map. Perfect. There was also some other preparations I had to make for this build, and some of that would be concrete, so I got to work and mined as much of that as I could. I also spent some time crafting up some light blue glass, and also getting some final pieces of cobblestone that I would need. And, well, once I was done gathering all of the materials for this build, construction started. By day 473, the beacon room was so close to being finished. All I had to do was go through and add some final touches, such as some bone meal around the area, and also added some leaves for extra decoration. Once that was done, I could go onto the top of the storage room and start moving the diamond beacon over. When I had all of the diamond blocks in my inventory, I moved them all over to the brand new beacon room. And there it was, the full diamond beacon inside of the brand new diamond beacon room. This looks pretty good if I do say so myself. I then placed my shulker box filled with valuables down and got a piece of netherite out. This would be used to power the diamond beacon. And by day 474, the beacon castle was fully constructed. With the beacon castle constructed and quite a lot of days left, I knew what needed to be done. It was time to finish every last advancement the game had to offer. And that even includes one of the secret advancements as well. I made my way back down to my base to check exactly what advancements I had left to do. The first one was to strike a villager with lightning. The second one was to summon an iron golem to help defend a village. The third one was to jump into a honey block to break your fall. The fourth one I had to complete was to give a pillager a taste of their own medicine. Next on the list, I had to charge a respawn anchor to the maximum. and also ride a strider with a warped fungus on a stick. And then on the next category, I had to use a campfire to collect honey from a beehive using a bottle without aggravating the bees. I then have to catch a fish without a fishing rod, and the final one on this category is to move a bee nest with 3 bees inside using Silk Touch. And well, the final one is to weaken and then cure a zombie villager. And then of course I also wanted to tick one of the 2 secret achievements off the list as well. So after some quick farming, I got straight to work with the first achievement I wanted to tick off the list, and this would be to cure a zombie villager, and for this I would need some splash potions of weakness and also a golden apple. I then proceeded to make my way over to the closest village and find a villager and trap them in with a zombie. Once that was done, the villager was now a zombie. Then once the zombie villager was following me, I struck down my weakness potion and fed it my golden apple. And well, after some time passed, I got the advancement, the zombie doctor. The second advancement was really easy, and all I had to do was pick up a fish in a bucket. The next advancement was another simple one, and all I had to do was take out a pillager with a crossbow. I then had to wait multiple days for a thunderstorm so I could strike a villager with lightning. This advancement was quite easy, but I had to have some fun, so I made a charge creeper and got instantly scared. After taking out the charge creeper, it was time to move on to the next advancement, and this was to simply make an iron golem. For the next advancement, I had to go into the depths of the nether to actually ride on one of the striders, but I also needed to lead it in a direction with a warped fungus on a stick. This next advancement called for a trip over to the armory. Some of these advancements needed me to get some beehives, so I went ahead and got my Silk Touch pickaxe and headed into the forest. Once I collected a beehive, I then made a respawn anchor to get another easy achievement ticked off the list. For this, all I needed to do was charge it up to the maximum amount. It was now time to build the bees a home. Seeing as a lot of these advancements I hadn't done required bees, I knew this would be what I needed next. Seeing as these bees finally had their new home, I decided to start getting the advancements instantly. The first one I would need to do is harvest some honey from the hive without getting them angry at me, and the other advancement required me to Silk Touch one of their bee nests with 3 bees in. Now, with all of the simple achievements nearly done, it was time to move on to the secret advancement, and for this I would need a piercing 4 crossbow. So I went ahead, enchanted one of the crossbows, and it was time to get to work. For this secret achievement, I would have to get rid of 5 mobs with 1 single piercing arrow. This was going to be extremely hard, but I had a plan. I started by getting some of the easiest animals I could think of: a sheep, a pig, a cow, and even a chicken. I would then have to lead all of the animals down into a 1-block hole so they would all be together so the piercing arrow would hit every single one of them. And well, for the 5th mob, I came up with the genius idea of using a snow golem. Seeing as this is a secret achievement, I didn't want to mess it up. All the preparation up to this point was extremely hard, so I needed to make sure it would work. I threw the poison potion down, and it was time to see if this would work. And there it was, the Arbalistic achievement ticked off the list. This was the first secret achievement I had done, and with all of the preparation I put into it, I was extremely happy to get it done first try. And yes, I know there is one more secret achievement, but I will be saving this for 600 days. After finishing the Arbalistic advancement, there was only one more I had to do, and that was just to simply slide down a honey block. And once this was done, I had completed every advancement that was visible. Once I was done with all of the advancements, I noticed how the bees really enjoyed being around my island, so I wanted to give them a better home. So after gathering some basic resources such as wood and leaves, I got started on constructing the bees' brand new home. The bees had a base right next to the island, but seeing as I didn't have too many days left, I had to prove myself once again by defeating the Ender Dragon. For me to summon the Ender Dragon once again, I had to head into the depths of the Nether to see if I could get lucky with some ghast tears. The ghast tears would allow me to create end crystals, which would allow me to respawn the Ender Dragon in once again. And well, after spending some time in the Nether, I was able to get all of the ghast tears I needed. Now, all there was left for me to do is prepare the final things I would need, such as some fireworks, some Eyes of Ender, and once I had these, I was able to construct what I needed. The End Crystals. I then made my way over to the stronghold and glanced into the portal. It was time to prove myself once again. I carefully placed each end crystal exactly where it needed to be. each obsidian pole summoned itself once again. All I needed to do now was await the Ender Dragon's arrival. The dragon had been summoned. It was time to take this thing out, but with my elytras paired with my bow, it would stand almost no chance. I went up into the air and landed some accurate bow shots. Without these, the Ender Dragon wouldn't be able to regenerate any extra health. I had dealt with almost every single end crystal. I was now left with the 2 end crystals inside of the cages. Now with these being taken out, the Ender Dragon wouldn't be able to regenerate its health. I tried to be fast in the air and accurate with my shots. I even landed some critical trident hits. But unfortunately, my trident was lost in battle. The Ender Dragon landed in the center, and it was time to unleash some sword attacks. I now had the Ender Dragon at some serious low health. It would only take a matter of bow shots before this battle was over. I had done it. I had proved myself against the Ender Dragon once again. But not only that, another End City portal was opened in return for me beating this Ender Dragon. I collected the XP and got safely back home. I was home, but more importantly, safe from the Ender Dragon. It was now day 500. I had done it. I had successfully survived another 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore. But there's a lot of stuff that I want to get done in 600 days, so let me know down below in the comments if you want to see that. But apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it. Also, don't forget, I now have a second channel, so I will leave that down below in the description. But as I said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you want to see 600 days, and apart from that, have a great rest of your day, and peace.